Welcome back, folks. In the late 90s, we came up with body cameras. Um, Part of the reason that body cameras were pushed so heavily in the 90s, even though people really didn't want to take them, we were able to push it on a few police departments, and immediately their situations of misconduct dropped by 60%. That was back in the 90s. What's happened since then? Well, we've slid backwards a whole lot. See, Boulder, Colorado refused their body cameras repeatedly. They got grants and all sorts of stuff for body cameras and refused to take them. Well, the general public pushed for those body cameras because of all of the instances in the 90s and early 2000s of police not doing their job or police misconduct specifically towards the victims. There were two victims in the 90s in Boulder County that were very big headline cases, mostly because of police conduct and misconduct. But it wasn't just that. There's also the police misconduct in the JonBenét case and many cases like it in Boulder County. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls are specifically the children who are being stolen by Boulder Police Department and CPS in Colorado. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls in specific under the age of 6 is what they are after. This is the demographic that is their specific target. When they go after poor families, one of the things that they look at first is, does this person have blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls under the age of 6? The younger they are, the more money they're worth. The guy here, he kind of got lucky, sort of. Although his children were stolen by the system, same as many other people's children. His oldest, although she's blonde hair and blue-eyed, she's 7 years old. That means cognitively, she's not going to ever forget her parent. That makes it difficult for adoptees. But we got a lot more major issues than that going on. You know, it's not just black people who are being victimized by this. In addition, changing legislation to make it even more illegal to do something that's already illegal isn't going to make the cops wear those body cameras. Many of the victims of this have all had the same suggestion: body cameras, body cameras, body cameras. I fought to get body cameras legal in Colorado, try to get the police forced to wear them. And I was so excited when we passed that law, when we finally were able to get that law passed so that the police had to wear body cameras, but then the police didn't have to wear them. These were just for the police officers' safety. They could turn them off whenever they want. Oh my God. Are you fucking kidding me? Body cameras, this great idea that was supposed to give us equal rights, was abused by the police. And that we wanted body cameras in the state of Colorado to curb police abuse, not just against minorities, against all poor people in Colorado. Colorado, y'all want to pretend that it's some big liberal state. Fuck no, that's just because mostly what you hear about is Boulder, Colorado, and how fucked up that is. You know, liberal on paper is much different than liberal in real life. It really is. We can make some changes. We can do the right thing. We can stop pretending that the other victims don't exist. We can work together with the other victims, BLM, instead of shaming the other victims who aren't black and telling them that they need to shut up and basically get to the back of the bus. Instead of doing that, they should have been working together with the other victims, acknowledging that it's not just a black issue, that police misconduct And judicial misconduct is not just a black issue. It is a poverty issue. And those black people, even after these new Jim Crow laws are introduced to give black people special rights and colored people special rights, according to the way that Nebraska worded theirs. Well, they already have special rights. Those rights aren't observed, just like a disabled person who is homeless. Their rights as a disabled person are not observed. Just like a black person who is homeless, their rights are not observed. If you're homeless, you have no fucking rights. And the police do prey on this. If the police had their body cameras properly to begin with, if they hadn't changed the rules after the law was passed, then many of these things happening across the state of Colorado and across the nation could have been curbed. Whether it or not it's illegal doesn't make any difference. When the police won't do their jobs, it doesn't matter. Many of these phone calls that I've made with these places that I have saved on, I talk to y'all, don't I? I make those phone calls and actually make them on here. And everybody has refused to actually investigate. Everybody has taken advantage of my disabilities rather than try to understand them. Kind of like if you were to go, oh, this dude needs a wheelchair to get into the courthouse. Well, we're going to take away his wheelchair and the wheelchair access and tell him that he didn't try so that we can railroad him in court. Oh, well, he didn't even try to show up in court. He didn't even try. He didn't even try. Bitch, you did everything in your power to make sure I couldn't. And then you want to complain that I never tried. Meanwhile, you never tried. All you tried to do was hide evidence of your wrongdoing and your fellow officers' wrongdoing. But because I was called mentally ill, it must be okay. It must be magically justified. As long as they can play on your fears, they can do whatever they want. Yes, play on your fears by making you more afraid of the homeless and more afraid of black people, by refusing to allow those people an honest day in court, railroading them, which creates some very biased statistics, and then using those statistics as an excuse to victimize more of those people. Well, look at all the black on black crime. What do you call it when it's white on white crime? You just call it crime, don't you? You don't try to make it a racist thing, do you? But you always want to make excuses that black people deserve to be treated like animals because of what? Because of black on crime, you fucking bitch. See, that's not right. That's not right to do to black people. It's not right to do to white people. It's not right to do to the homeless people. It's not right to do to anybody. Meanwhile, all the laws that I broke were out of necessity. People kept saying, Sean, you're narcissistic. You just want attention. No, the fuck I don't. I never wanted any of this attention. But the fact is, at this point, I have to get that attention. I have to bring attention to this abuse, to the things that I have had to go through, and many others for the last few years. People who stabbed me in the back want to fucking complain that I fucking spoke out about it. Well, you should have kept your word instead of stabbing me in the back. What did you expect me to do? Just take abuse for the rest of my life because you're a coward? Meanwhile, you tell me, well, you know, I can step away from it, so can you. No, the fuck I can't. I have to endure this abuse for the rest of my life because you, who are supposed to be my friends, who claimed to love me and said that you were going to help me, didn't keep your word. And I had to take that abuse. And I explained to you from the start, without somebody in my corner to speak up for me, they are going to railroad me. And all these people who claimed that they would speak up for me, for 7 months, they did nothing. Nothing. It didn't matter what they did if they didn't speak up about it. The police wrote down I wasn't trying to get help. Meanwhile, all of these people who want to be pissed off at me because later on, after months and months and months of abuse, because we could have ended this abuse just by them coming forward, but they didn't keep their word to do so. And then when I came forward with their words months later, for my own safety and for the safety of my loved ones, well, then those people want to play victim, like Shannon Alvarado getting fucking drunk. Like, Jesus Christ, she lives in the house, so it's okay, right? Y'all want to talk shit about how all homeless people are alcoholics and fucking drug addicts. But then when it comes to somebody in the house, you're like, oh, well, it's legal for her to drink. Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's not detrimental to herself or those around her. By Shannon Alvarado getting drunk and irrational all the fucking time, she put herself, myself, and many other people at risk. By not keeping her word, I wasted my resources and wasted hers, because I went there believing that she actually was going to keep her word, that she actually cared enough to keep her word. She just never did. And you know what? Knowing she's an alcoholic, it makes perfect fucking sense. That's why we're supposed to have people with the government whose jobs it is to protect the disabled. But those people with the government aren't going to do that if they're busy covering up for the wrongdoing of fellow officers. Now, are they? Meanwhile, the law enforcement community, minus, jurisdictional bullshit that's between a sheriff and a fucking police officer who don't like each other, for the most part, they're on each other's sides. They will break the law to protect their officers, because obviously we must be criminals because we're homeless. Well, we are criminals because we're homeless. Homelessness is illegal. And then there's those of you who are going to go, homelessness isn't illegal. Well, let's see. What is it that homeless people have to do that the rest of you also have to do? Now, how illegal is it for you in houses to do those things? And how illegal is it for the homeless to do those things? Why don't you try looking it up and spouting your goddamn ignorance at me? And then many people claim that I owe them respect. People who tell me that nobody owes me nothing want to tell me about how I owe them respect. No, I don't. A lot of people say respect is earned. I say that's bullshit. Everybody has my respect until they give me a reason not to respect them. That doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't fucking matter. But was I judged? Harshly. Yes, I was. Was I judged by the same yardstick that these people judge themselves? No. But it's okay, because I'm not the right color to get actual help. I'm not the right color for the ACLU to actually give a shit about. I'm intelligent, so I must not be disabled. I'm disabled, so I must not be intelligent. And whichever one happens to fit you at that particular time, whichever one happens to fit, whatever will protect you from your crimes, protect you from prosecution, you can use your power to abuse me for that. And the police do. They don't just do this to black people. And they don't do this to black people more often than anyone else. And these laws that make it more illegal to do things that are already more illegal to do to minorities isn't going to protect the homeless who are black. It's not going to protect those who the police can just go, oh, well, they're mentally ill. These special rights aren't going to force the police to have their body cameras on. These special rights aren't going to do shit except create more hatred, more racism, and more division. You want more special rights? I have special on paper, but that is the only place that they have existed in my 39 years of life. So when you little 22-year-old fucking twits want to tell me how the fuck it is, maybe you should look it the fuck up before you go spouting your ignorance.